why can't we find right Islamic State in the world?
Okay, the question is, why can't we find right state,
Right Islamic State
right Islamic state in the world?
in the world.
Okay. You see, I read to you Allah is the king or the Malik, Maliki Yawmiddin. He is the king or the master of the day of judgment. So Quran, if you read the Quranic ayat, Allah is the king of all the universe and the galaxies of all everywhere. So all this earth, Allah has divided people into nations and tribes. Allah has divided the people into nations and tribes in the Quran. So you see the division in the Quran, and in Surah Yusuf, one of the places, Allah also said that He makes sure that the king of the people of that land did practice that if a person robs anything, you hold him. So Allah is also respecting the law of the land. So there are laws of the land which you are referring to as state, as you referring to the state, a right state of Islam in the world. According to the Quran, the right states, all the states are under the influence of Quran. All the states, whether right or wrong. Because there is no such thing as Islamic state in the Quran. Allah is the king of the whole universe. He is the ruler. So He has divided the nations by His division so that you recognize each other. So His division. So the judgment is laid down in the Quran, and in the ayat it says, أَفَغَيْرَ دِينِ اللَّهِ يَبْغُونَ وَلَوْ أَسْلَمَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ طَوْعًا وَكَرْهًا وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَعُونَ. Do they seek a judgment from other than Allah? And whosoever is in the skies and the earth have voluntarily, willingly or unwillingly, dislikingly or likingly submitted to Him. Whatever is in the skies and the earth, whatever in the skies and the earth, everything is submitting to Him, likingly, willingly or dislikingly. So the whole submission you see, look, all the Jews are existing because the Quran said they are Jews. The Nasaras are existing because the Quran describes them. The Munafiq or the hypocrites are mentioned in the Quran. They are also there, they will be in the world. The mushriks, the associates will be mentioned because Quran addresses the mushriks in the Quran. Addresses means He describes the mushriks. So there is no such thing as state. It's a group of people who abide the law in the whole world. Wherever you are living, there is a group of people who are this is a Muslim state, or this is a Christian state, or a Hindu state. There is no such thing as Hindu state or Buddhist state or atheist state or agnostic state or a Christian state. Why should be a Muslim state or Islam state? This is not correct in the eyes of God. Allah has divided the nations and tribes, and because of Allah, the divisions takes place in the world. Wherever the divisions takes place in the world is because of Allah's permission. Because Allah is dividing the nations into tribes. So we have to recognize each other. So the do's and the don'ts that I was reading was trying to emphasize that this is accepted by man as a whole. But people may not practice it. They know this is right, but they're not practicing it because they don't read the Quran. And even if you know the Quran, then still you don't practice it. That means you are under the influence of the divisions and under the sects by Allah created. So Allah says that He puts azab on people if they don't amend. So there is no such thing as Islamic state because the whole system of the world is governed by Allah. And Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fis silmi kaffa. O you believe, enter into Islam entirely. So Islam is there. Islam means attaining peace. So if you want to attain peace, you enter and follow the do's and the don'ts of the ayahs, you enter into Islam. Why would you say that this country should be under the Islam? You practice, you bring those laws into the people's minds and they practice. So in the Quran there is no mention of Islamic state. Otherwise He would have mentioned, like Makkah is mentioned in the Quran, Medina is mentioned in the Quran as Islamic state. He doesn't mention in the Quran at all. This is the answer.